52-year-old or however old Shannon is dealing with the 19-year-old allegedly when they first started talking.
And when I think about it, it's like, Shannon, you should do better.
I don't care what color she was or is. That's nasty. She 19.
We can admittedly say that we don't do a thing, but acknowledge that there are other people who do things. And then if you're going to start to judge, at what point in time does it stop?
This young person, who might have been a hustler herself, chose to engage with this person, and maybe she set him up. I think she was definitely culpable in how it went down.
If you like 19-year-olds, fine, but getting into a relationship, that is some sucker shit.
What we have here is a 52-year-old or however old Shannon is dealing with the 19-year-old allegedly when they first started talking. By now, everybody has talked about ad nauseum about Shannon Sharpe. Now, where the correlation comes in at is because what we've also learned about his situation, right? I believe he has a lawsuit of $50 million. The young lady who turns out, I'm not going to say her name, but she was Jane Doe in the case, right? I'm not saying we can't say it. I just don't remember it right now or even really care to say it. But nonetheless, the young lady was like, I guess, 19 when they first met. She was on OnlyFans. They ensued into a relationship. Apparently, this lawsuit has kind of been in play. There might have been offers before. She's being represented by attorney Tony Busby, if I'm not mistaken, who was the same attorney, and we all know this by now, who had the last case against Jay-Z that was kicked out. But this young lady has released clips, of conversations. So has Shannon. They've gone back and forth trying this case in the court of public opinion, along with, accusations or sayings that he, offered $10 million at one point in time. There's a lot to unpack here. But again, that's where the correlation is for me. But I'll just open up before we get into it. So what are y'all thoughts? There's so many different angles, the age difference, the race play, Black men on the brink of success, getting caught up. We can start wherever y'all want. And feel free. Let's get at it. Let's get into it.
Shannon Sharpe has had enough chances in the media recently. He's had enough chances and hiccups with women, with media, with it coming out. I mean, Cat Williams sat on his show and told him, leave them white girls alone. And even when he asked Cat Williams why, he said, it's not because I'm not attracted. He said, there's just a history of how they treat us, and I don't want to give them any money because I don't trust it. And then, what's her name? Monique got on the show and did the same thing. Stay away from them young girls, brother. Don't do that, brother. You're better than that. What does this Nog do? He finds the youngest OnlyFans. He finds her a 19-year-old who looks like she's 18 or 19. And then he goes and tries to commence to have a relationship with somebody. When I look at those text messages, I'm like, this man has to be a fool. Give me your big black baby. All of the race play stuff just makes it just that much more worse and icky. And he gives me the ick. And when I think about it, it's like, Shannon, you should do better. You got way too much money to be, dwelling in the bottom feeder pool. Even if she has $5 million from OnlyFans, that man has been working for over 40 years for a career, and he should know better and do better and try to date somebody in his own damn tax bracket if he could. At least your age range, brother. Damn.
I mean, this kind of goes to what I always say too. You know what? Money don't unlame you. You can be a lame nigga. You just got to lame with a bunch of fucking money. I mean, so what? I mean, he should know better. And I'm even gonna take about the. It's not so much the age thing. I mean, it's not my thing, but I don't even know where I hang out at where 19-year-old OnlyFans models be at. If I had to, I couldn't fucking do it. So you were already in the wrong place, right? But if you like 19-year-olds, fine. But getting into a relationship, that is some sucker shit. Like my man said, you don't pay him to stay, you pay him to leave. You were in a whole relationship with a 19-year-old. You were probably cuffing with this little chick, spooning. Y'all probably showered together. It was just, y'all were just doing bae shit. It was way too fucking much. Shannon Sharpe should fucking know better. And you guys always losing the bag behind some cheeks. We just went through this with Shannon Sharpe's guy, losing the bag behind some box. I don't know. I'm disappointed. This shit, Shannon Sharpe shit, is why the aliens won't fucking visit us. That's how I fucking feel.
Right.
That's why the aliens won't visit. That's
how I feel.
So I'm just gonna say this. I understand, Auntie. I understand. I personally feel like it's because we was calling you auntie. I got it, because you was a little messy on your show. So I understand why you felt the need first to leak that little clip of you going grunting and stuff onto Instagram. I understand, because you want to show your powers. You was like, yo, this me. And so I understand that. So I ain't gonna call you auntie no more. Auntie, uncle. I don't know. But anyways, I was trying to figure out how I can merge aunt and uncle together, but you saw it didn't work out that well. So I'm gonna go ahead and call you Unc, because at the end of the day, you Unc. So Unc, that's nasty. I don't care what color she was or is. That's nasty. She 19. Teen. And so you over there fucking your granddaughter, basically. And that's nasty, sir. But on the more serious note, because I understand folks will say, but she was legal. Yep, barely. I understand, but she was still legal. Okay, cool. I got you on that. So this one, I'm going to clean it up for you. I'm going to say this. I agree with Tia and Deva in this sense that, first of all, you got too much money to put yourself in this position. Second of all, I don't understand why we continue to see this where people literally ruining their careers, literally ruining their brand over some coochie. You know, like at least get coochie that got the same amount of things to lose as you got, you know? Like, I don't understand why in the hell you're willing to risk all of this. And then I realized, once again, going back to the fact that there was a lot of folks kind of saying you may be gay or in the closet. And so maybe you felt like you had to prove your prowess. You know what I'm saying? So that may be our fault for kind of shading you that way. And when I say our fault, I mean certain people in the Black community, and maybe a little bit including me, you know, because I was calling you auntie with the messiness, but that was for the messiness, not for the dick play. With that being said, I will also say this.
Uncle. That's what you got to call him.
So, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to call you Unc. You know, I'm going to put some respect on your name. Well, on that uncle part. But anyways, so I understand in our community, especially with Black men, there's this big overwhelming need to flex, flash, and do all these other things to say, I am the man, ha, 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 and put your chest out. You know what I'm saying? I get it. You was wearing that purse, and ever since then, it ain't been right for you. So it's cool. It's cool. With let me stop. I'm throwing a little too much toxic out there. So
Oh, what? A little too much for you,
I'm doing a little too much.
Commit.
I'm just gonna say this here.
Boo.
No, I want to be on the serious too. I'm just gonna say that we talk about, you know, some men love to talk about how there's high value men. They love to talk about how they're high value men. But I think high value isn't just the money and the success. I also think it's about the character. And I'm actually questioning his character at this point, because there's too many things in these texts and in this stuff that came out that make me question who you are as a person. Now, this is your personal life, so I'm not trying to get too far involved in your personal life. So I don't appreciate the group chats that you put us into, all those texts, because I didn't need to know about your big back baby that she wanted to have, or that you was going to choke her out because she was saying one thing too many times. You want to be choked. Yes, you do. And I'm like, I ain't need to hear all that. Matter of fact, I'm mad at myself for listening. You can't build an empire if you're entertaining chaos all the time. And that's what you was doing. You were entertaining chaos under the guise of getting cooch, because it made you feel good about yourself. It gave you a warm and fuzzy. It was like wrapping you up in a hug. Well, now that rap came with a $50 million lawsuit. So enjoy your rap. And I hope that this works out for you in the way that you wanted to work out, because you gave her that 10 mil, but she was like, hey, you offer me 10 mil, then I know for a fact I can at least get 25. And then her lawyer probably was like, no, you can borrow to get 50. So you enjoy that hug that you got, warm and fuzzy you got, and recognize that warm and fuzzy, it costs to pay, you know, or it's, what is it? Pay to play. You knew that when you got that OnlyFans person. You knew that she was OnlyFans, so therefore you was paying to play. But, you know, protect your name, protect your legacy, and choose wisely for all these other men who have not found themselves in this situation yet. Because at the end of the day, the only thing you should have been concerned about was your family, your foundation, and your legacy. So, because that's where your real power lies, versus flexing and flashing, saying, yeah, I got this young buck, this 19-year-old. So that's where I'm at.
I am so disappointed in the position that y'all put me in again. Right? I want to start off with a couple of disclaimers. By and large, I'm vanilla when it comes to like my personal life. I'm gonna start by saying that, right? Which is why it's even more funny to me that 2 out of 3 of my other guest hosts are saying some of the things that they're saying, because I would think they'd have a little bit more empathy and understanding in terms of like judgment when it comes to how one expresses their sexual proclivities. So I'm gonna say that first. But these are not things that I experience. And I feel like we gotta say this up front, right? Because I can have the ability to understand where people are coming from. And I realized a lot, and I want to shout out Clubhouse for this, because when people say things like, I don't understand, what I realize is that they don't want to understand. They'll say they don't understand because I think it's just we're used to saying that. Because if you do then want to understand, it's not that hard to understand. Right? I think for whatever reason, judgment doesn't allow us to understand. So yes, we can berate the bad decisions in the course of them that he's made, but I want to point out a couple of things, right? Because I feel like this is an educational moment, and for the two of my guests, my co-hosts who maybe have more experience, right? Because when I say like sexual proclivities, there's like a lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Like people do different things, from midgets to orgies and all kinds of stuff. Like what's funny is on like websites, like the porn ones, there's race play. There's actually a thing called breeders, for example, right? The entire thing is the fantasy of, yes, I want to have your baby. I want you to come in me. Like that may not be my type of time, but that is part of that interracial breeding play. Right. And so in some scenarios, it's weird. It's kink. Right. I get it, but it's not my cup of tea, but I understand it because there is that race component. Right. Like the same, there is the forbidden fruit aspect to niggas wanting to fuck with white girls. And so in that vein of porn or that lifestyle, that's race play. So for y'all who are uninitiated and y'all hear things like, put that big black baby in me, that's what that is. The same way that niggas do cuck shit, like some weak ass vessel watching his wife get rammed by niggas. Right? This is typically a white dude. That same racial dynamic in play where, yeah, that shit happens on the other side too. Okay, so this is outside of, I'm trying to address this piece by piece because I feel like for me, I don't judge. That's not my bag. You know what I'm saying? That's not my bag. Yes, could I think it's a little lame or can I use it as a learning opportunity? Absolutely, but that's just not my thing. So I just wanted to educate some people because that's just what they do in that bag. You know what I'm saying? One of many bags. So please stop me when, as the person who's not in the community, respect when I hear people in the community talk about a certain level of respect, a certain level, I guess maybe privacy. And maybe in this case, I don't think he was trying to put it out there. So can we blame him for not keeping it private when he became the victim of a shakedown? Right? So I get the judgment here. Right? And I let y'all have that judgment. All three of y'all judge them. I'm just trying to give the opposite side of like the human being. You know what I'm saying? In terms of how many of us make mistakes and we get caught up. This wasn't like the nigga went to a random shorty. He went to a fucking professional. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you were to talk to niggas and say, hey, bro, if you're going to be moving a certain type of way, would you want to go with a regular chick or do you go with a pro? Because as part of the game, pros are supposed to move a certain type of way. You know what I'm saying? So there may have been some expectations that Shorty was going to move a certain type of way. Does that mean, does it invalidate anything that y'all saying in terms of, hey, bro, you got this value, you have this worth, et cetera? No. But I felt like a lot of that shit was laced with judgment and some of it with ignorance because we can admittedly say that we don't do a thing, but acknowledge that there are other people who do things. And then if you're going to start to judge, at what point in time does it stop? You know what I'm saying? The nigga didn't do nothing illegal outside of whether or not he took that or did something else he wasn't supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Will we do it? No. But will we also be on OnlyFans? Absolutely not. So you ain't that only. That's their. That's what people do. Y'all niggas ain't even on OnlyFans like that. Y'all don't know that world. I'm not, but I'm at least be like, if that's what they do in that world, I'm gonna respect it. So I mean, there's so many different. I feel like, and this is where I want to kind of go with it. I feel like I don't know which part bothers y'all more. Is it the white girl part? Because y'all, and let me say, when I say y'all, when I hear this conversation, right, I feel like a lot of women, right, have a lot of energy behind this. And I don't know what is it about. Because I heard S&M talk about the age thing, cool, right? But I don't know that I heard the same energy when it was Drea's older ass grooming or preying on the Jalen whatevers of the world, right? Because we did talk about that, right? Her being, so, I mean, which is it the race thing or is it the age thing? Help me understand where the source of the issue is because the nigga didn't do anything illegal as far as I know. Please help me.
I want to respond if you don't mind,
Right.
because I don't think illegal
Yes.
equals morality. And I think that just because the law says someone is an adult at 18, if you have children and you have a daughter, then you should know better and do better, because you and I know if these kids at 18 aren't as mature as maybe we were, they don't have enough self-agency. They're just not at the capacity in which we had to be, just hustlers and go-getters at 18. They're not that. That's the first thing. Second, I really have to speak towards the idea that he's lifestyle, because I think that vanilla people tend to really have misnomers about what lifestyle and ethical non-monogamy is, right? And so I don't want to tell or put the label on him of being lifestyle, because he doesn't represent the way most of us do it, because we have boundaries, we have limitations, we utilize safe words. And I know many a black cucks who enjoy seeing their wife get rammed by another man, but they know how to do it within limitations and boundaries and set, some parameters into what they like and don't like. This young person, who might have been a hustler herself, chose to engage with this person, and maybe she set him up. I think she was definitely culpable in how it went down. But he, being damn near 60, should goddamn know better. It's not about whether it's legal or not. It's about, why are you really morally attracted to a child? That shit is just ick, and that's what I said before. What were you gonna say, Delvin?
That's not even you started off talking about the lifestyle, why it wasn't that, and then you went to the age thing. So maybe I'm stuck in terms of how it wasn't. How do you know he did not have the safe word or whatever parameters outside of what they put out there?
Because her
Like, how do
text
you know he didn't
message
have that?
said, when I asked you not to do it, you stuck it in my ass anyway. When I told you it was too much, you stuck 3 fingers in anyway. And I said no, and you didn't stop when you stuck it in my ass. There's clearly not a safe word in play.
Okay, so
right? Clearly not a safe word in
perfect.
play.
So perfect. So you believe this was assault then, because that's what you described just now.
I for surely feel like it's assault. I for surely feel like the interaction between he and her, do I think that she set him up? Yes. Do I think that he did things due to whatever capacity he had that was offensive against her? Yes. I think men, and it doesn't take men with money. It doesn't take a leader or a political figure.
I don't want to gloss over this because you introduced something that's not a minor thing. So I don't want to make it seem like this is just a point for conversation. Because I thought prior to this, I feel like a lot of people assumed this was a shakedown and probably did not believe anything in regards to whether or not an assault occurred. I feel like you just basically said you believe in one occurred. So I don't want to like gloss over that. That's not a small thing.
He posted the text messages that said that.
But him posting that does not mean it was an assault. I'm asking you a direct question. If you're saying you believe this in assault, I'm going to respect that and pause for a second, because that's not what the initial question that I was asking. So I feel like it's a separate discussion in terms of whether or not we believe there's an assault that occurred. And I don't want to muddle the waters, because at first you was talking about lifestyle. I don't believe there was an assault that occurred. I'm saying that people have sexual proclivities, and there isn't necessarily like, oh, because you have this race kink, you can't be a part of the lifestyle. Now, if you're talking about assault, I respect and get that. I don't want to muddle any waters if you're talking about assault.
Yes.
So I want to just pause for a second. So please just respect. I don't want to muddle those waters.
Respect.
The previous question that I was asking, though, right, was whether it was about race or whether it was about age. So S&M, please, can you answer that for me? For you.
So for me, I said that it didn't matter what the race was. What mattered to me the most was the fact that she was young, and that the expectation, I don't know, it was just an ick factor for me. So first, I did clown Drea because she shouldn't have got with nobody who's the same age as her son.
Definitely.
So I give same smoke for both. I think that's predatory 100%, because like I can't even, my son is 22. I can't even imagine being attracted to somebody that's my son's age. So yeah, I clowned them both. And he went to a teen. It literally says 19. And now, like I said, I recognize. So to short answer, yes, it was the age that really bothered me the most, and followed by the fact that in his need for whatever his needs were, he had decided that he picked somebody from OnlyFans, pay for play. So the fact that she was OnlyFans, pay for play, and that's what he's doing now. He's paying for playing. It's just not the amount he wanted.
Okay. I mean, I feel like y'all saying things like ick, but ick and predatory, ick and certain actions, like those are two different things. Like you can be like, this is nasty, I wouldn't necessarily do it, versus I guess when you start bringing in morality. But listen, everybody's entitled to like their own version of what they want to bring in. Go ahead, Delvin. I didn't want to.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's really far less the race thing. That's why I didn't even bring it up, because I don't even care about that. If she were black or whatever, my position would be the same. This is about doing goofy shit and getting in this position to where you can have stuff like this happen to you. That's my big thing. You should know better. Hey, you want to fuck around with a 19-year-old? Cool. drop her a couple of bands and then send her home.
Yeah,
You
but
were getting in a full out relationship.
okay.
That's my issue.
Okay, got it. So you're saying that even if this still would have came out and she would have made whatever unfounded or whatever accusations, had he treated it more like a transactional situation, you would have been more okay with that scenario. Your issue is that he had, I guess, developed feelings or tried to have a relationship with her. That's where you draw the line. I just want to make sure that I understand.
Yeah.
What we're talking about. Okay.
You're interpreting me correct because we
Okay.
established she's a professional. I mean, and I think Tia, you brought up earlier. Oh, she's young, she's a teen, and she, kind of framing her as a victim. She's running a $5 million OnlyFans empire. She's a mogul by any stretch.
A
Well, hold
mogul
on,
because she
because
has
I
5
don't know that
million?
she introduced. Hold on. I don't think we introduced that part. I think that might have been in pre-pro. Maybe I'm off, but maybe I'm off. But you're bringing
I
introduce
mean,
because
she's a professional. She's
but
she's doing her thing.
thank you for that, right? Because I was going to ask the other question because you didn't mention age, right? So there was age mentioned, and I guess the next question for me was going to be, does the fact that she have an OnlyFans, I didn't know it grossed $5 million, does that make you look at her differently? Because Tia said, well, if you had a daughter, right? Not knowing that Shannon has talked about how he lets his daughters move around or whatever, so we then project our values onto other people, but whatever. So Delvin, as a guy, right? I'm asking you, right? Do you look at her the same as you would an average 19-year-old? Based off of the information
No,
that you
the
know.
same way I don't look at an average 19-year-old the same as a 19-year-old stripper. I just you don't. They're not. I mean, I'm not knocking. I'm not even making a moral judgment. I'm just saying I don't. If you go to the strip club, you meet a 19-year-old stripper, then you decide, hey, I want to have a relationship with her and take her to the cookout. Then you setting yourself up for some. You're a goofy.
Okay.
And him, Shannon Sharpe, being worth what he's worth isn't going to ungoofy him.
Yeah. Now, okay. So I want to go back to the ladies with this, right? Because I want to stay at the 19-year-old part because Devin made it clear, and I agree with him 100% in terms of it's not the same thing. So, ladies, does that matter to you all? The fact that whether she was a OnlyFans with the $5 million empire, or let's say if she was a stripper, does that change anything as it relates to her being a 19-year-old for y'all?
Not for me.
So I'll go ahead and pop
Go
off.
ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, 19 is still 19. I understand that you're saying that she's a professional and whatnot, but technically they already shown studies that, first of all, we don't even fully develop until I forgot which part of it, until like 28, but that's for men and women, right? And so I would just say this. I understand that she has an OnlyFans, which means she was a business, which is why I'm going back to pay for play. It's still gross, whether she's 19 with an OnlyFans or 19 at strip club, 19 at a regular McDonald's job. It don't matter. It's still gross to me. And so I think that the OnlyFans thing may add validity to the fact that he got to pay now, but he knew he was paying in the first place. So I'm just saying that he knew she was OnlyFans. She's doing pay for play, and now he's paying just not what he wanted to pay. Still think it's gross. 19, yuck.
Mm-hmm.
This is great.
I'm not.
Glad you said that.
Go ahead, Devin.
So if the frontal cortex isn't developed and they're still forming and it didn't happen until they're 28 or whatever, okay, then fine. Then 19-year-olds shouldn't be allowed to vote. I agree.
That's
Or go to
literally the
war.
reason why they're not allowed to
They're
drink.
not allowed to drink.
That's literally the
They're
reason
not
why
allowed
they're
to
not
drink
allowed to
for that.
drink.
Thank you.
So
But they're allowed to
But they
give their
can
lives
vote,
for the
which is
military. What
how
the fuck
many
are y'all
times
talking about?
you're
Fuck
but
talking
they
about
can
in
vote.
America where
That's
those
more
standards are based
damaging to
on
the
economy progress. America,
In other places, they're
19-year-old
even
voting
younger.
is
The fuck are you talking about?
yeah.
People drink earlier in other places.
Yeah,
People
but
do a
they're
lot of
not
shit earlier in
legally
other
allowed.
places.
They're
The
not
fuck are we talking
legally
about?
allowed to
Yeah,
drink
like you
until
ever
they're
been to Germany?
21.
I mean, it's
They
crazy.
can't go to the store in the U.S. and purchase alcoholic beverages. They have to go get somebody who's hanging on the
They
corner
can still
or a
go get a
bum
gun.
and say,
Then they
"Can you
can
go
kill
get this?"
people for the government. So fuck your
But
drinks.
Yes.
that's
Who cares if they can't get
so
liquor? Who cares?
can I
And they
That
can
was
vote, which is
because
more
liquor
damaging.
who
impairs
cares?
their
But go ahead,
judgment more.
Tia.
so
Like we get off topic.
I don't
Right?
mind
There's
that
a lot
she's
to
an
hear. Go ahead.
Go
OnlyFans
ahead.
worker at all. I am perfectly okay with that. I think sex work is great if that's what you choose to do. But let's not act like there's not 8-year-olds on TikTok making the exact same money from doing dance dancing videos. So what she's doing is not business making. What she's doing is live streaming. And whatever she chooses to do to get her money, I'm in support of that. So let's not make it seem like because she makes or amasses this
Not
amount
you.
of money
Wow.
that she is some kind of business Fortune 500 mogul that has such an intellect that she's capable of keeping up with the 55-year-old man who has several decades of life experience in excess of hers.
Clearly he doesn't.
Clearly
Not you
that
having a break.
Negro doesn't. And let me finish.
Not you having a.
Let me finish.
Go
Hold
ahead. Go
on.
ahead.
Because the frontal
Go ahead.
cortex is not fully formed until the age of 26. And the reason why that matters is because what it controls is decision making. You don't really have
Got him voting.
regulated systems to make effective decision making until your brain is fully formed. And so if you don't have that capacity, which is why they have this whole pedophilia thing, right? Because children can't consent. Your brain is not formed. She's 19, yes. In America, 18 is of age. Yes, it's not the same age everywhere in the world. Cool beans, whatever the case may be. But as it relates to the moral ineptitude of what has happened, that's what matters most for me. Like, it's just morally, why would you? The age, okay, cool. The race, I don't care because people do, right? But it's just, why would you? She's 19. She's a kid.
So this is the thing, like fuck my feelings. I don't give a fuck about my feelings about this. My morality is not at play here. You know what I'm saying? I get it. You know, this is an opportunity for us to virtue signal about what we stand for, right? And that's part of what we're supposed to do. And I guess for me, I'm virtue signaling that I don't give a fuck about other people's moralities because they're not my own, right? So for example, if this case came up and I was asked to be a juror, last episode we talked about the scenario. And for me, I think maybe part of where I am at is wanting to look at this fairly. Like, so for example, bringing it back to the case, this brother is got a chick asking for $50 million, right? So let's talk a little bit more about that. Because honestly, like, whatever we feel about things, that's not your life. That's not your experience. And then on top of that, like, low key, we act like we all super fucking moral. Like, that's the reason why I'm going to use I statements, why I choose not to judge certain things, because I am not perfect. You dig what I'm saying? So yeah, people have their own things and I get it. But when it comes to the law, right? If you didn't break a law, and I guess she has to prove whatever civil case that she has. So to bring it back to Tia's point, does anybody else, before I go back to Tia, think that there was an assault that occurred here? Because I do not. Because I want to deal with that part. Because I get the setup part, and I want to differentiate how I do get that you can be manipulative and run a game and shit can go awry, but maybe my code is a little different. So Delvin, you don't think that? Do you believe there was an assault here? I just want to respect those who believe that there was an assault. I just want to make sure I know who we're talking to.
Yeah, I think I don't think so. I think this is more of like what can I get out of this guy? I think it's more of a shakedown. That's my personal feeling about it.
I mean, it's okay. We don't know. Like, we weren't there. We're going off of the facts. It's a salacious conversation, right? I'm sure if there was facts that came out that proved otherwise, we'd come on here in a minute, right? So cool.
And we talked about it's I think it's correct me if I'm wrong, it's a civil suit. It's not I'm pressing criminal charges.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad you said that, because this was not something that happened years ago, just for clarity, right? This occurred within, I believe, the last 2 years or so, if I'm not mistaken.
October of last year to January of this year.
Gotcha. So we don't have any issues in terms of statutory time, right? It's not like she couldn't have gone criminal. This could still be actively criminal, but for right now, we know that it is in fact civil. S&M, your thoughts?
So I can't say whether or not assault occurred because I didn't read all those texts that he put out there. And so what I will say, though, that I am concerned that if an assault did occur, the fact that she didn't press charges, because most statutory requirements for rape is like 5 years. And the fact that she hasn't done so yet and went civil is what concerns me in regards to this perhaps is just straight up a money grab. However, I'm going to say what most people say. I need to wait for more information before I judge one way or another.
Gotcha. Okay. So Tia, you believe that an assault occurred. Can you share with us why you believe that?
The only reason why I believe it, otherwise I would be agreeing with Delvin and S&M, like, we don't have enough information. I'm just going off what I saw, right? Or I'm kind of in the middle about it being a shakedown too, because I think that was her intention. He posted a text thread in order to prove it was consensual. And in the text thread, she says everything that I just said before. You did this, and I said no. You did this, and I tried to stop you, but you did it anyway. Do I think that she baited him with that text message? Absolutely. I think she did, because she went back after that act happened and had sex again. Where he gets caught up in is that his reply was like, yes, I know. Okay. Right. There's not a, what are you talking about? That never happened. Where is this coming from? He was like, we need to talk in person. So the fact fact that you release these, and there's not necessarily, yeah, you're right, I did it, but there's this okay kind of response. I think if any one of us was being accused of something so far-fetched, the first response would not be, yeah, okay, I understand, or I get it. That wouldn't be what I would say. And so because of that, I think there is some culpability. Because he offered her the 10 million, I think there is some culpability. He knows something wasn't right. And so I think that for me doesn't make her, it makes her a victim of sort, but it doesn't make her the only victim. Because yeah, he got played by someone who used it against him. But again, historically, this is what happens. He should have taken heed.
So you can't agree there's a big gulf between you believe an assault occurred,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like what you gave me wasn't like to the heart of the assault. Maybe inconsistency in story towards the end there. It was like, he was being dumb. Why did he offer her $10 million, right? Because I wanted us to be as responsible as possible,
Mhm.
right? Before we say things and put things on people's jackets. So I paused and wanted to make space for, if we're talking about assault, because that's not something that's to be taken lightly. But if we're going to talk, if it's going to, because in all full transparency to the audience, right? Like these conversations, when it comes up, I feel like some of y'all, and I'm going to just say with people in general, but also women, y'all do a disservice, I think, when y'all mix in shit, right? Like sometimes there's gimmies and layups, you know what I'm saying? That we can kind of be all on the same, at least on some level of the same ground, so we can see that we're all seeing things at the same way, right? I think a majority of people that I've talked to said, okay, based off of her profession, based off of what she did, based off of at least the text messages, based off of his response, a lot of people felt like, okay, yeah, this might be a shakedown. And I get that. But we start introducing other things, that's when it's like, well, damn, we're taking this outside the bounds. At best, these are two people playing the game, right? Like,
How is it out of
and shit
bounds when
doesn't
he
always work
posted
out.
it? He brought it to our attention that these texts happened.
Because there is no police file. There is no case, like S&M said. She has Tony Busby, who literally just yesterday got his ass handed to them. There's a lot of things here that I think most of us can say, hey, man, it doesn't smell good. So when it doesn't smell good, the least thing we're going to do is put anything real on it. We can all have fun about it. We can all talk about whatever. But when you start talking about, I think she might, like, there's enough cases that come out that most people be like, okay, you know what? Nah, this is some bullshit, right? And then you find out it's bullshit. Like the whole Jay-Z thing. When the Jay-Z shit happened, most people were like, oh, that's bullshit. It was bare to be proven it was bullshit, which is why the NFL didn't do anything. A lot of other people didn't do anything, right? So imagine if that brother who's accused of some fuck shit, but didn't do anything, has to pay a cost. These things can damage niggas. It's one thing for us to talk about it, cool, because hey, at the end of the day, this is a civil case, right? Different companies can decide on what they want to do to punish him. But at the end of the day, it's not like he broke a law yet. If he was charged for rape, for example, sorry for the R word, trigger warning, I guess I should have said that, then I think he would have got fired, he would have let him go. There's a reason why none of those things have happened. So at this early stage, I'm just saying we got to be careful when we put serious things on the table. Because I asked you specifically,
Yes.
you thought there was whatever. So you say, oh, you thought go ahead.
I think.
Go ahead.
I think it's assault. I'm not accusing him of assault because I wasn't there and don't know for a fact. From what I've read, I think there was some assault that happened because consent matters, and she said no, and he proceeded. And that, to me, that is a line that's crossed. That's it. It's just simple for me in that way.
I feel you, right? But you remember how, like, I think the last episode, because some of y'all be like, I don't understand why, right? And I was saying, like, when y'all go into the comment sections and y'all co-sign certain things, y'all give off a certain perception, like, for some reason, you're desirous of believing a thing, and sometimes the worst thing, especially if there's not enough evidence. So I get it. We're all entitled to our opinions, but my opinion would be is if I'm hearing that, I'm like, what basis are you going there off of it? You know what I'm saying? Like, at least in this particular case, when it seems like most people are like, okay, yeah, this was probably a setup. And listen, maybe this sounds fucked up to say, but like when you get into the game a certain type of way, the game is the fucking game. You think like, oh, I'm finna go rob a nigga. If the nigga shoots back at me, and then I have to take some different measures that, oh my God, I was only just trying to rob him. Like at some point when you get in that car, you don't control the outcome of the circumstance. So I'm just not gonna be, oh my God. No, I don't have empathy or sympathy for either one of them. But I'm damn sure not gonna put like
that's where I'm at with
that
it
on the jacket when the police has not done it. I hear you, but
I think both things can be true.
You know,
I think there's room for both things to be true. I think they were both fucked up in how they proceeded, and it's. I would never want to see a black man in this position ever. Let me just give a quick disclaimer. I love y'all. I just don't appreciate and like the way y'all
tell
move.
sometimes.
I know it's okay. It's okay. It's all right. That's all right. That's why I'm here. Right? It's okay.
Yeah.
But
So you should have more empathy for how I feel now. Good. So that's good.
oh, you know, it's all love.
Understanding, right? Yeah, yeah.
We had a
We
breakthrough.
did. Look at that wall
I
coming
love
down.
it.
Look at that wall coming down.
I love it.